How does this happen? Ben? Trevor? Guys, I'm freaking out. It's like a force field. What's going on, everybody? I'm sure a lot of y'all by now know who I am, but anybody that's new to the channel, I'm Kevin with Custom Night Vision. Today we're going to be talking about something we kind of covered a little bit in a previous video when we talked about the Unity fast mounts and risers and flip to center magnifiers. We're going to go a little bit deeper into that discussion and talk specifically about the differences or advantages, disadvantages of active and passive shooting. We're gonna do some demonstration of what that would look like, first person and third person. And we're gonna talk about situations where one may be advantageous over the other. Some of you may be asking yourself, what is this guy talking about? What is active aiming and passive aiming? Well, I'll go ahead and explain both of them right now. Active aiming is essentially any aiming that is emitting energy from your firearm that can both provide a sight picture for you, the shooter, and also provide a location for anybody that may be potentially being shot at. So there's some things to be considered when trying to figure out, is this the right kind of aiming solution for you? We'll go into that a little bit more in the end of the video, but active aiming provides the shooter the ability to essentially aim from any position. You don't have to necessarily shoulder the rifle. You can kind of just throw it under your arm, activate your laser, and aim that way. It also provides the shooter a more complete view of what's in front of them, a better situational awareness because you're not getting sucked into this optic. Passive aiming is essentially acquiring a sight picture through your daytime optic just like you would during the day. One of the advantages to passive shooting through a daytime optic is you don't have to activate a laser. Another advantage of even having this capability is if for some reason your laser goes down, you now have a secondary sighting system that is your primary sighting system during the day. So I would hope that by design it is robust and it is reliable. Per our previous video, the height of the optic becomes more crucial. With night vision on your face, you can't really get too far down behind a low mounted optic because of just the mechanics of the helmet, the mount, the night vision, and where the optic is mounted on the rifle. Having an optic on a taller mount provides you more flexibility in getting behind that optic with night vision in front of your face. So that's one of the advantages to having these taller mounts. It's kind of why we advocate for them, because we do a lot of our shooting under night vision. I personally shoot almost exclusively under night vision because we live in South Texas and it's hot, and fuck that. If you're watching this video, then you've probably been in some of the night vision forums, shooting forums, and these tall mounts, tall optic mounts, risers, whatever you want to call them, seem to get a lot of hate, a lot of love, and frankly, I think they're just really misunderstood. You'll see a lot of pictures of carry handle ARs and, people talking about we've come full circle. Well, the carry handle wasn't ever designed to be used with night vision. So the reason why these are becoming so prevalent is the proliferation of night vision in America. There's a lot more citizens now with night vision capability than there ever was before. And with the consideration of more people having night vision, essentially near peer threats having night vision, the idea of passive aiming becomes more appealing. To get behind an optic with night vision in front of your face is very difficult. If you imagine, this optic is on a 1.5, 1.54, even a lower 1/3, like a 1.75 mount. 193 becomes a little bit easier, but at this height, 2 inches plus, it becomes very easy, much more intuitive to have night vision and get behind that optic and get a good sight picture through the optic and around the optic. Because your head is in the proper position to keep your head up and these night vision tubes straight on, you end up with a better sight picture and a more usable image. You can more easily shoot both eyes open, just like we do during the day. And it's much more comfortable. It's much more natural when you need to get on the gun quickly and acquire your sight picture. Another thing to consider when wading through the very confusing opinions on sighting systems like this is we all have different size faces. So there will be a lot of people that say like, oh, I can really get a good cheek weld behind this 3-inch high optic riser, and there's some people that really can't get there because their face just isn't shaped right. So these are things to consider when deciding what kind of mount is going to work best for you, especially if it's going to run kind of dual purpose, you know, daytime and nighttime. I have dedicated night vision guns and daytime guns, but the shape of my face allows me to use these mounts on pretty much everything. That's not the case for everybody. We all have friends that have the little round heads, you know, they really can't use these, let's be honest. They end up with kind of like a crazy chin weld like that, and that's no good. I learned early on that, you know, I'm not gonna get a cheek weld like I do behind a PRS gun or something like that, but this muscle right here I use to chew beef jerky, it does sit on the buttstock real nice, and it puts my eye in perfect alignment with the center of the optic. That's kind of the touch point I found that works for me. Everybody I talk to that runs setups like this, they have their own touch points, places on their face where they can refer to when they shoulder the rifle, they cheek it, they get it ready to shoot. You know, if you want to run something like this, you will find a touch point of your own, and with good practice and repetition, it will become second nature. A final point on passive aiming and why it's important to at least have that capability with your firearm. I kind of mentioned it earlier, near peer threats, or just anybody really having night vision these days. If there, for some reason you're out in your city or town or wherever you may be, and you need to use night vision and you're prepared to use your gun, chances are there may be somebody doing the same that wants to use their gun on you. So it is nice to have the ability to not broadcast your position when you prepare to take a shot. Many people are aware that surveillance cameras now can see, many can see IR signatures. A lot of cell phones have certain IR filters and they can pick up some IR. There's a lot of very expensive or very inexpensive cameras on the market that can detect the kind of IR illumination or radiation that are coming out of these laser aiming modules. So just something to consider when putting a gun together that you know you're going to use in conjunction with night vision. We're not shooting from that far away, and honestly, as close as we are, this is not a good group, but I'm transitioning from passive to active shooting and back again, and just, you know, kind of throwing rounds at this target. That's what you want to see. Your passive aiming solution and your active aiming solution being right on top of each other. One last thing, guys, we get a lot of emails and calls and stuff about the different gear we're using in these videos after we post them, so I thought it'd be cool to do like a quick little gear recap. It's a complete night rifle. Right now I'm running a L3 in-gall, a Mod Light 18650 body with an OKW head. This is a Dead Air Nomad L. I get so much hate for running this can, but it is super quiet. I really like it. I can shoot this in my neighborhood, so that's cool. This is an Aimpoint H2. It's not a T2. I just run it on 1 and it works great with night vision. It's an Aimpoint 3XC magnifier with the Unity flip to center mount, Unity fast Aimpoint riser. Got a B5 stock on here. It's multicam, it's kind of cool. Faro Concept Slingster. This one's an M81. Love this sling, run it on everything. BCM CAG, love that too. Got some HRF stuff on here, the HRF magwell, like that a lot. This is the HRF ramp. Puts that mod button just in that 45-degree position. I've gotten accustomed to that, so I can't really run a rifle without it. Forward Concepts, cable management. And then a Reptilia QD socket there. I like these a lot because it turns the QD back towards you. It doesn't get bound up. You don't twist the sling up as much. That helmet I'm using is OpsCore SF Ballistic G24 in Urban Tan. These are pretty cool. We had a bunch of them for a while. Now you can't get them. OpsCore amps, obviously. What else is on this thing? Argus battery pack. And these are DTMV-Gs, old school with L3 filmless tubes in them. Pretty standard equipment, maybe not. Yeah, if you got any questions about any of this stuff, feel free to hit us up, but this is what I'm using today.